Hi everybody, we decided to come together as a family and sing some songs for you for chapel time. So we're going to sing along when you know these, and we're going to start with, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and your face is going to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it's on your feet. If you're happy and you know it, and your face is really showing. If you're happy and you know it's on your feet. Amen. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Amen. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Amen. If you're happy and you know it, and your face is really showing. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Amen. Free. If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Amen. Amen. If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Amen. If you're happy and you know it, then your face is really showing. If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Amen. Woo! Yeah, we're gonna do this every week forever. Oh, I love that. All right. So deep and wide. Deep and wide. Deep and wide. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide. Deep and wide. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide. And wide. And wide. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide. And wide. And wide. There's a fountain flowing wide. There's a fountain flowing. There's a fountain flowing. One time. There's a fountain flowing. There's a fountain flowing. All of Oh,
Okay.
that was a while.
Yeah.
All right, so
Why did you get faster?
well, that's the point of the song, is to get faster.
That's what you do.
All right, we're gonna do hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Okay.
praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah, 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 praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah, 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 praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord. Let's do it one more time, because this is our exercise. Ready? Hallelujah, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord, hallelujah, praise ye the Lord. Woo! All right, and to end our little mini podcast tonight,
What?
a little Jesus Loves Me.
Okay.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to Him belong, they are weak, but He is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. All right, thank you everybody. Have a great day.
Stay safe.
Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Today we are going to read the story of Doubting Thomas. Do you know what doubt is? What is doubt? Does doubt mean if I say I doubt that that's true, does it mean I really think it's true? Or does it mean that I have a hard time thinking that that's true? I don't really think that's true. Yeah, I don't think so. That's what doubt is. Doubt is when you don't really believe something that someone tells you or something that someone's doing. And sometimes we doubt things if we don't see them. So we're going to turn to the New Testament. So the New Testament will be in the back of your books because the Old Testament is in the first pages, right? Actually, most of the Bible is Old Testament or Hebrew Bible. So we want to turn to our New Testament, and this is actually page 492, and it's called Doubting Thomas. The disciples were hiding in a house the night that Jesus arose from the dead. They were afraid. Bam! They locked all the doors. Jesus came and stood by them. "Peace be with you," he said. The disciples looked up in surprise. How surprised would have you been? Jesus showed him his hands and his side so that they knew that it was him. Just remember, Jesus had the nail through his hands and the pierce through his side. So he showed them. He said, "Look, it's me." The disciples were very happy. Jesus said to them, "Peace be with you. God has sent me to you." Wait a minute. Do we say peace be with you to each other in church? "Peace be with you," Jesus said. "God has sent me to you. Now it is your turn to go and tell the rest of the world about God's love." Jesus breathed on them in a very special way. He said, "With this breath, I will always be in your hearts, even when I am in heaven. Now you have the power to do things that I've asked you to do." Thomas was the only disciple that wasn't there. When he got back, the other disciples excitedly told him about Jesus' visit. Look at, they're so excited. They're like, "You would have never guessed what happened. You stepped outside for 1 minute and you missed Jesus coming back from the dead and saying, 'Hey, peace be with you, and here's some strength so that you can tell everybody about my love.'" And Thomas, like, look at him. Do you think he doubts them? He's like, He doesn't look like he's like, "Oh my goodness, yes, I totally believe you. That's so exciting." He's just kind of like, okay. I don't think so. "I don't believe you," Thomas said. "I'll believe you when I can touch Jesus' wounds." A week later, Thomas and the other disciples were in the same house. Jesus came again and stood with them. "Peace be with you," he said to them. "Thomas," Jesus commanded, "give me your hand. Put your finger on the wound in my hand. Put your hand by the wound in my side. Do not doubt me anymore. It is time for you to believe." Thomas's eyes popped. "My Lord and my God," he exclaimed. Jesus answered him, "You believe because I am here with you and you've seen me. Think of those who have not seen me but believe in me anyway. You should believe, even when you cannot see it for yourself." There's Jesus and Thomas and our little caterpillar friend. And it says, "Let's act out a time when you were afraid, but you felt Jesus was with you." A time recently that you were afraid. What's a time recently that you were afraid? Sometimes I worry a lot right now about my grandparents because I don't want them to get sick. And so one way that I help myself from being so afraid is I say a prayer and I repeat over and over again my refrain until I feel better. And I've shared my refrain with you before, and one of my favorite refrains is 1 Peter 5:7. But this refrain really helps me through hard times when I'm anxious or scared or sad, and I'm worried about myself or my kids or my grandparents or anything. This refrain really helps me. Cast all your worries or your anxiety on God because God cares for you. And I even have a little song that I taught my kids when they were younger to help them memorize this verse. And it goes, "Cast all your anxiety on God because God cares for you. God cares for you." And in this Bible story, that's what God is telling Thomas. God is telling Thomas, hey, there's so many people out there that haven't seen me and they still believe in God. They still believe in power and God's love. And here you are, and you're around all these people who have seen me and you still doubt me. But don't doubt. Have faith. Have faith that God can give us hope and God can give us love and God can heal us because we find wholeness in God. So we can cast all of our worries, all of our troubles, all of our anxiety on God because God cares for us. And that's what Thomas learned. And Thomas went out and Thomas told everyone that Thomas could all about the love of God, and how the love of God for Thomas was like a calm in the storm. So that's our story for today.
So what did they do?
So you take your straw. So you want acrylic
You
paint
know that actually doesn't work.
or any kind of liquidy paint, and you'll put it on a canvas or a piece of thick paper. Any kind of paper works, but the thicker the better, because you don't want it to soak through. So take your straw, put it in your mouth, and
Whoop.
don't dip it in there. Do you see my breath when I'm doing this?
No.
But do you see the paint move?
Mhm.
Well, how do you know that my breath is real? How do you know that my breath exists? How do you know it's real if you don't see it?
They can't. People cannot see breath.
But you know it's real still?
What?
Do you know it's real still, breath? Because you can feel it and you can see it move the paint, right? So God is kind of like the same way, right? We can't see God. And Thomas couldn't see Jesus. You can still have faith in God. Because you know, even though you might not be able to see God.
That made a circle.
Wow, that's so cool. Your breath made that, didn't you? You can feel God. And you can see God work in your life.
I actually made a circle with my finger.
Yeah.
But it didn't go
Yeah.
on.
Through other people.
Is that cool?
But you can see God move through your life and feel God in your heart. Just like we can see the paint move on the canvas whenever we blow it with our air, but we can't see the air. We know that God is there, and we know that God is there when we're scared or
These
happy
aren't
or sad.
straws.
Yeah. There are straws. They're metal straws.
They're not used for
We know that God's
cups.
always there for us.
Are they?
And we can spread God's love just like we're spreading this paint. To other people. Just like Thomas and
They
the
just
disciples
don't
did in our
look
story
like.
today. I'll say a prayer while you continue to do your painting. 1, 2, 3. Dear God, thank you so much for the love that you give us. Thank you so much for filling our hearts so full that we get to share that love with other people. And thank you for giving us faith, especially during trying times and during happy times. And thank you for letting us know that no matter what, you're always with us. We, as your people, are made strong in you so that we can go out and spread your love too, just like the disciples.
Thank
Thank you, God,
God.
for everything that you do for us. In your name we ask. We say amen?
Amen.
Amen. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
No, I'm not done.
Oh, okay. Sorry.